Part 1. Reconnecting with the Inner Self. Having suffered the dark weight of depression for most of my life, I decided to write a collection of reminder notes for myself in an effort to reduce the stress. Eventually, this attempt at self-help became the collection of dialogues making up this book. Through years of ruthless self-enquiry, coupled with first-hand knowledge of the unwanted side effects occasionally caused by medicine, I began to actually see the lie I was living. When I discovered this prison of separation, limitation, and isolation, I pleaded with the universe to tell me how to break free. The flood of knowledge that followed enabled me to understand that I was allowing belief to lay the groundwork for my everyday life. And because of this, my perceived reality was quite distorted. Of course, these heavily conditioned beliefs came from the society that nurtured me. The relief, as I became enveloped in this truth, felt like 1,000-voice choir singing hallelujah. Here was the key to freedom. I had taken back control. Nevertheless, when accepting this line of thinking, it is imperative to understand that we humans are constantly creating our reality. So we need to be very clear about how the power of our conditioning shapes the way we perceive the world around us. I'm not claiming my illness has been cured, for it would seem that once one's nervous system is damaged, there is always a slight chance of a relapse. But at least these days, I rarely get pulled into that fearful darkness. And when I do, usually it only lasts a few minutes. Whereas in the past, sometimes my depression would haunt me for months before I was able to struggle back to the surface of life. Having successfully used these methods myself, it is my hope that others dealing with the ravages of depression, physical pain, emotional torment, and/or chronic illness might also gain some benefit from these dialogues. The words on the following pages not only speak to what we might be suffering in this solid, three-dimensional world, but at a deeper level, they also shine a light on the torment most of humanity is experiencing because of loss of contact with the inner self. First dialogue. If we are physically suffering, our attention is dragged into the torment. This blocks out the world, meaning all we can feel is agony. And if this suffering continues over weeks or months, our entire physical and emotional state becomes shredded. Conversely, when we fall into that dark pit known as depression, many of us develop a high concentration of stress hormones, cortisol, noradrenaline, so our feelings of loss and hopelessness are due in part to a chemical imbalance. What is being suggested in these dialogues is a collection of gentle practices that will enable us to move into the deeper regions of our psyche in order to regain feelings of peace and well-being. Our suffering lies on the upper levels of our reality, whereas the ability to drop down into the richer, more profound levels of the self helps take our attention away from the pain. There is no suggestion anywhere in this book that we should force ourselves to become some type of new person. Indeed, I know that there are remnants of the damaged aspects of me that have not been eliminated. They still may drift into awareness during times of physical or emotional stress, but their influence is negligible because of the techniques being offered here. Understanding the self is important for both our physical and emotional well-being. We are made up of myriads of personality traits, some amazingly wonderful, others destructively terrible. Our brains have been conditioned by our society since birth. We are all forced to fit into a mold that may not suit or identify, often resulting in a lifetime of confusion because we cannot express our true selves. Once we truly understand this, a new world opens up. So we do need to know how and why we function, but in this book there is no suggestion that we try to change. Indeed, at a much deeper level, these dialogues will open the door to one's inner sanctum, revealing the miracle of who we really are. Our physical life is only a part of our existence. Chronic pain and deep depression are part of this essential small me, the one who lives from day to day, always responding to the world through belief and habit, always repeating the same mistakes and constantly suffering because of it.